I just activated it now. Always a little delay. There's always a little delay. All right. We looking good right now. We are looking good right now. Yep. Hey, yo, chat, are we live? Are we live? Let me see. Let's see the reaction. I know there's like a little delay. There's always like a little delay with the chat, right?
I heard my phone they make that noise. So yeah, I think everything's on. Could be wrong.
You know what I'm saying? Grand opening, grand closing. You know it. Hey, yo, chat. Yeah, we live now. What's up? Everything's good? The levels is good? Hey, yo, I think everybody, yeah, we good, Craig, right here. Hey, so far, J-Dub and Extreme are missing in action. They're probably a little bit behind. I hope they show up. I hope they show up. You understand what I'm saying? I hope they show up. You know what I'm saying? Hey, my friends, my family, my fellow gamers, you know what I'm saying? Please retweet this out and tag your favorite Xbox. Tell them, hey, yo, show up to Porter Rocks Podcast. We got some shit to discuss. In fact, I need to update the title. I need to change the title like screw begging for screw this, you know? I'm gonna change this. I'm gonna change the title. Microsoft CEO states let's see. States. Man, let's see. Microsoft states first party. All right, let me see. Let me see if this fits. First party. Let me see. What's a good title, man? Like right here, I'm right here flying off the cuff right now. Microsoft CEO to support. Let's say Microsoft CEO to support. Shit! Like I'm. Oh my god! I'm having writer's block right now. I need a catchy phrase for the title of the podcast. We changing it right now. I had Xbox guys begging for PS5 Switch games. Nah, that ain't nothing. That ain't nothing. All right. Now you know what's funny? I see Goose the breaking news. You're right. It's not breaking news, but somehow this shit slipped under the radar, right? Because Microsoft had their annual stockholders meeting, and this was back in December, and no one caught this until now. So I need, come on, give me a catchy title. I have writer's block right now. I'm having writer's block right now. What is it? Microsoft CEO to,
leaves clues the possible third party.
Nah, that's too much. I need definitive. Listen, you never wrote an academic paper before? You got to take a stance. Academic paper, you got it. Yeah, so, hey, you're not supposed to forget. You got taught that for a reason.
About more evidence.
He said Xbox finds out the hard way straight from the horse's mouth. He said that's a long ass title, bro. I don't got that many characters. Endorses third party. Yeah, you heard Satya's comment already? I just tuned in. Oh, we're gonna play live.
Yeah, play it. Yeah.
Porting gets to P and Switch. Title: Xbox continues being dog shit.
Oh man.
You know what? Microsoft CEO brings pain to fanboys. You know what? Let me see. MS CEO, Microsoft CEO. Let me see. I need the algorithm. Microsoft. I gotta spell out Microsoft. Microsoft CEO breaks. Let me see. Breaks bad news to fanboys. How about that? That sounds good.
He's getting it all.
Microsoft CEO breaks bad news. Microsoft CEO breaks bad news to Xbox fanboys, to concubines. Nah, that's vulgar. I don't want to get flagged by YouTube. There's a breaking bad news. All right, here you go. Microsoft breaks bad news to Xbox fanboys. Suicide Squad, Xbox developers. Yeah, cool. We'll start with there. You know.
Mm-hmm. That's fine.
Xbox Fanboy says troops come back home. See, yo, the head general said, hey, cut that bullshit out. Go back home. Start collecting your VA benefits. It's over. All right? Collect your DD-214.
I ain't heard that in a while.
Oh, hold on. How about that? Microsoft CEO says, get your DD-214, dog. Your enlistment is over. Head out to the VA, collect your benefits, collect your monthly check. Report all injuries, make sure it's documented, make sure it's service connected. All right? You know what I'm saying? It's time to collect your checks. It's time to collect your pension. You know what I'm saying? Oh, we'll leave it at that. You know? Get your DD-214, all right? Listen, it's over, bro. Come back home. You know? Everybody rounded up on the tarmac. You know what I'm saying? Make sure your name's on the list. Hey, we got your flight schedule. You're coming back home. You're going to be debriefed. You're going to go through the VA process. Make sure you write down, document everything, dog. All your medical conditions. The years of pain, Xbox been dog shit. No games, shitty exclusives. Year after year, seeing them lose game of the year. Document all that shit, bro. You can get a VA rating. Some of that shit's like 100%. Some of the shit that you guys do, you're like literally 100%. Permanent and total. Like, bro, your shit is PNT, bro. Everything. Up here, y'all broken. It's over, bro. Get your DD-214, get your VA claim. Get that check. Maximize that check. Get 100%, bro. Get everything, all right? And not only that, not only that, right? If you 100%, you get 100% dental from the VA. Some of y'all grills, let's just say on the podcast, when y'all smile, it's looking like another sun is coming out of the screen. I'll be like, yo, bro, I have to tone down the brightness. You know, dudes out here talking with corn niblets in their mouth. Like, so, like, get you know, get them veneers going. Get them veneers, all right? Clean it up, bro. You know, wrap that shit up. Get your ass on the plane. You're going home. It's over, bro. All right? Collect your checks. Collect them checks, bro. Get them shits now, all right? Because this shit is over. I don't know. Hey, I don't know. Y'all can linger all this you want. Like, God damn, this is some crazy shit. But anyway, before we get through it, you know what I'm saying? I want to say first and foremost, shout out to the chat. I see all the same, you know, I see all the usual faces, the guys who come through to support the channel and stuff like that. Got Real Shadow up in here, Jim D, you know. Of course, you know Craig is a panel member, so you don't count in the chat, bro. You're a panel member. Nah, you always count. You always count. The Ruham, my brother, up in here as always. You know what I'm saying? You know, we got Outside Gaming Nights up here. Danny Stab, Curtis Kane. Man, I appreciate all of you. You know, Leech is up in here. Cuba is up in here, you know. Who you go? ASDF. I'm just going to spell it out because I don't know how to pronounce that. You know what I'm saying? Who else we got? T. Beckett. Stoney's up in here. Who else we got up here? Hatsuma's always here. Danny Stab. Gamba. Colt doing it live. They've been dissing the ponies and people were laughing. My half brother's here? Where my brother at? Doc?
It says Proto. It says Proto. No, it just says Proto.
Oh, Proto. I was like, oh, no, T. Beckett, you know, who else up here? What else we got over here? Laugh Out Loud. You know, Lewis is up in here. Advocate's up in here. Man, I ain't make babies. You know, hopefully you don't make too much because they get expensive after a while. That's Meese's up in here. DB Extreme is here. What's it? Foxing Around. You know, J. Hart. Wadawana channel member Kenneth Paris is up in here. Steven Orban's up in here. Oh man, you know, Flegeron is here. You know, Mary Wilcox, what's up? Spider Silva is up in here. Ashton Jack Fanny, Advocate. Who else we got up in here? Welcome. Chat's movie. Cade the Barbarian. Who else we got in here? We got, what is it? FoodTube? That's how you pronounce it? It sounds like future. Weezer's up in here. You know, Andrew Wilkins, Prince Philip, Naiku 8910, SNK Forever. You know, we got Cryptopsy up in here, of course, always coming through. You know, who's up in here? Who's it?
Shout out to Cryptopsy. Shout out to him.
Okay. Dave Rock up in here. You know, Truck is up in here. Here we go. We got Corey up in here. Cephalon Snow up in here. Michael Meridian. Oh man. And of course, we got the brain. You know, member for 19 months. Machine learning. They're gonna need AI. These Xbox fanboys need AI because they can't figure this shit out on their own. Jimmy Harrison, as always. Thanos is coming through. You know, Nubalax. Oh, man. What's it? Her Black Wing 33. Hey, Rock. Xbox losing their minds over this. It's crazy, bro. Now watch. They're gonna change the definition of English. The English language is gonna change now. Watch. Now the word "and" is not gonna mean "and" anymore. They're gonna redefine A-N-D. It's not a conjunction word no more.
Yeah,
no,
they're gonna turn it into a preposition.
It's gonna be something totally different. It's crazy. It's crazy over here. Gaming Grindhouse, you know, up in here. You know, Dave Rock. Anyway, hey man, this shit's gonna be crazy. But we'll start with you, Craig. Man, what you been up to? What's going on?
Nothing. Trying to survive this big old cold spell that we're in down here. But yeah, this gaming. Hooked up my Thrustmaster HOTUS. Getting my ass shot down in DCS. Played man, what did I play? Oh, I've got I think I'm level 17 or 18 on Starfield. So that progressing in that. Just getting ready for the Last of Us coming out Friday. I've got a copy already, but very very nice to see the scores be good, and it's very nice to see Digital Foundry give it kind of give it a salute, give it a 3-star salute, so to speak. So yeah, that's been about it. Just surviving the code.
Okay. All right. Good to hear it and stuff like that. All right. Hey, to the chat, we'll see if J-Dub and Extreme. I think right now they're on Twitter on fire, and they forgot that there's a podcast because he's doing the Lord's way. What's up? Oh, he said
he'd be here shortly. Yeah, he said he'd be here he said about 10 minutes ago he'd be here in 10 minutes, give or take. Yeah, J-Dub, he's out there just he's man on fire like that Denzel movie back in the day.
Like, somebody tag J-Dub, be like, bro, wrap that shit up, get on the podcast. We gotta talk about it and stuff like that. But anyway, man, for everybody here, we got over 260 viewers up in here. Hey, thank you. Yeah. Thank you for checking us out. If you would be so kind to hit the like button. Tweet this out, X this out, whatever you prefer, whatever term you prefer. And I invite you to tag your favorite Xbox guy and tell him to show up. This is an open forum. I said this all the time. Show up. Defend your position.
This is the yard. You're in the
This is
yard,
this
so
is it.
Can come out.
We all out here. Let them know. I would love to know how Xbox guys feel about this. So we're gonna start with the topic. Satya Nadella, Microsoft CEO, breaks some bad news to Xbox fanboys. Right? Everybody sees it on the screen. I'm gonna read it and then I'm gonna post a video. But let me bust this out. Let me see if I can make this bigger. But I'll read it to you guys anyway, right? Okay, here's a little bit bigger. But let me read it to you for you guys. It says, from Brett Iverson, it's great to hear about our reach on this topic. Thank you for that. Jacob asked about the health and future of Xbox. Satya, could you give an update on our gaming business? Satya Nadella. Yeah, obviously we're very, very excited about everything that's going on in gaming, especially with the close of Activision Blizzard King. We think that now we have the ability to really do what we've always set out to do, which is build great games and deliver them to folks across all platforms, right? Which is Xbox and consoles, the PCs, and now even including mobile gaming and cloud gaming. We're excited about the future. We want to do our very best work in gaming. It's a core business for us. But also, I see tremendous synergy between what we're doing up and down the AI stack. I always say Microsoft is not a conglomerate. We have one platform that we express through multiple different addressable markets, and gaming is one. And then right there, a little paragraph says, when I think about AI, what we're doing at the infrastructure layer or what we will do at the edge is sort of the same set of transistors that first were used for graphics. Guess what? Are being used for AI. You can now connect the dots and see why gaming is going to be more strategic to us. Now, the video is also out. Let's see. Where's the video? Give me a second. Let me help you guys out here. We also it's pretty crazy here, right? But let me do my thing here. Let me go. Where is that video? I know that video is like. What happened?
Super chat.
I got super chats up in here. What? Let me see. Let's see what the super chat says. Let's see super chat. True Virgil. Thank you for the super chat. Says my Xbox tattoo was removed by. Oh no, we're not doing that. No, Virgil, don't do that, Virgil. Oh, Virgil, man. Oh no.
Chocolate Thunder.
Oh my God, man. Chocolate Thunder's getting his dues here. He's like, I likes you and I wants you. So we can do this the easy way or we can do it the hard way.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
That's what Satya Nadella said. He was like, yeah, you Xboxers, or y'all sure are some pretty people.
So let's see. So shout out to the Red Dragon. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Everybody sees it, right? Everybody should see. Let me make sure it's good. Yeah, he says right here, Microsoft CEO has now joined the CFO in declaring the goal is to put Xbox games on all platforms, which includes Nintendo Switch, PS5. Enjoy the compilation. Well, he put the compilation. Whoa, Red Dragon. Whoa, CUMP. Whoa, what are we doing here, Red Dragon? The compilation. What are we doing here? What's this? What do you mean by that?
Maybe
compilation. I'm just saying, whoa, there's a lot of freaky shit, man. 2024 is kicking off with some freaky shit. Like, what's going on here? You will miss the console wars. All right, here we go. So let's see what this says right here. We're gonna zoom it out. We're gonna start from the beginning. We're gonna put it up.
Satya, could you give an update?
Here we go.
Jacob asks about the health and future of Xbox. Satya, could you give an update on our gaming business?
Yeah, obviously, we're very, very excited about everything that's going on in gaming, especially with the close of Activision, Blizzard, and King. We think that now we have the ability to really do what we've always set out to do, which is build great games and deliver them to folks across all platforms, right? Which is Xbox or and consoles, the PCs, and now even including mobile gaming and cloud gaming. So we're excited about the future. We want to do our very best work in gaming. It's a core business for us. But also, I see tremendous synergy between what we're doing up and down the AI stack. I always say Microsoft's not a conglomerate. We have one platform that we express through multiple different addressable markets, and gaming is one.
Our mission is to bring our first-party experiences, our subscription services, to every screen that can take that can play a game. That means smart TVs. That means mobile devices. That means what we would have thought as competitors in the past, like PlayStation and Nintendo. We're going to NVIDIA, GeForce Now, their gaming subscription service. I know you have Colette, I think, on tomorrow. You can talk to her about that. But when we think about taking our businesses to these endpoints, again, it's that high-margin business to new gamers.
Help me. Help you. Help me. Help you. Damn it, Sony. I'm begging you. Please, let's just put all the Xbox shit on PlayStation. Please.
Like, bro. Like, what more? What more can we do? Hey, yo, Jazz, if you want to come through, let me know. You know, you already got the keys to the house. You can hop on. Like we'll start. Hey, Craig, go ahead, talk about it. Preach.
Well, I mean, again, it's
about the health and
with
I mean, well, let's full disclosure. This video is, I don't know, is it like 5
This
or
is
6
from
weeks old?
this is from
Yeah.
December.
Yeah. So this is almost a month old, give or take, depending on what week it dropped. But I guess nobody called it because I think, like you were saying earlier, it's part of an overall shareholders thing. So we got this. And if you have stock in Microsoft, you get this in print. They send this to you. So I just said, well, it does sound like that's what they're going to do. And I just remember something Phil Spencer said, which is them acquiring Activision. It allowed them to accelerate their what their end game, what their final goal is. So, and again, I don't see why this is a big deal. It's still a rumor, but to me, I said this last week, the silence is deafening. So the fact that Microsoft, remember a couple months ago when people were saying Game Pass is coming to PlayStation, that Microsoft came out within 30 hours and had a press release. Like, no, that's not happening. With this, they have, at least to my knowledge, they have never come out and said none of that is true. That this is not true. That maybe there was a time they did entertain it, something like that. It's a basic press release, and so yeah, I'm starting to think more and more that this is going to end up being true. And I think it starts again with the games that they had priority on or exclusivity on. I think they relinquished that, and those games start coming over to PlayStation and the Switch and things like that. So yeah, shout out to people catching it on video, I guess. But this is an old video.
Yeah, it's only 5. It's about 4 weeks old.
Yeah, so
4 or 5 weeks old.
Yeah, so this is not really a shocking surprise to me personally, because this, if you're literally gonna say, okay, Nintendo and PlayStation have combined close to anywhere from 170 to 205 million consoles. You can't, I said this last week, if you can't take Muhammad to the mountain, you gotta bring the mountain to him. And even Sean Layden said this last week. Sean Layden even said we got to go where they're at. He said that years ago. So about putting the games on PC and things like that. So which was his own developers, Layton's own developers, kind of pulled a coup on him and said, no, we want to start putting our games on PC. So, but yeah, this is it's unfortunate that, let me make this clear, the Xbox fanboys, which I'm gonna say is 1 out of 5, 20%, they're gonna be upset. They're gonna be angry. But the rest of them, 80%, just don't care. They just want to go in and buy the game and go play it. So it's just silly at this point.
Mm-hmm. Extreme.
Satya Nadella is in charge of Microsoft.
No. Yeah,
So,
he's the CEO. He's the big boss.
Yeah.
Before there was like the argument of, well, CFO Tim Stewart doesn't know nothing. Like, oh, here we go. Here you go. The actual CFO for the division, who's supposed to, primarily manage the finances, he's not going to know nothing about the finances in the direction of money. Okay. But now what can you say with, Satya?
Yeah.
Who's above him?
If this was a Marvel Cinematic Universe, he would be the one above all.
Yeah.
That's his title in the Marvel Universe, the one above all. So, because he's the man. That's the guy that signs Phil's checks and Tim Stewart's checks, and Matt Shake Your Booty, Sarah Bond. He signs their paycheck. So at this point, that's why you're hearing things like, "Oh, you're port bagging" and stuff like that. It's just kind of like, all right, however you all want to process it. It's traumatizing, I guess. So if you want to say it's port bagging, that's fine. I'm not going to argue with people over it's stupid. It's not port begging. This is something they've been wanting to do for a while. They just had to get their hands on the studios. My bad. I didn't mean to cut you off. Shout out to Extreme. He's here.
Okay. All right. What's up, Extreme? What's going on?
Hey man, everything's good. Everything's cool.
All right, excellent. Are you hip to? Yeah. Are you hip to? Yeah, the recent video. Like now, it's making its wave.
That's how you played.
All right. What you think about it?
Listen, first of all, I just want to reiterate something. I don't want these garbage ass games on PlayStation. Keep them away. Okay, that's the very first thing. I'm not for it. These games are trash. If I wanted to play them, I could play them. Everybody's got a Samsung washing machine. All of you have a Samsung toaster. Okay, all of you have some kind of appliance or device that could double as an Xbox access ecosystem thing. So, hey, listen, if you want to play these garbage games, they're already available. Second, keep them away from PlayStation. Third, I honestly don't care because I feel like this is a fight that Xbox players should have had. You get what I mean? Like this isn't our fight. This doesn't concern us. So if they want to put it on PlayStation, I guess put it on it. You already know how I feel about it, but I'm not gonna fight for this. I don't really think anything of it. I think it's just par for the course. I mean, these are the same people that told us that exclusives were bad, right? Do you guys remember that time where exclusives was a dirty word? Like,
yeah, it was the N word.
exactly. It was terrible. You know, exclusives is like, oh no, how selfish of you. You don't want everybody to have access to video games. You don't believe in ending world hunger. Like, you believe that more people should have AIDS? How could you? How could you? I still remember that time. So I just don't understand why these people haven't kept the same energy. Like, if you always believed in exclusives, you should have always said and always been said that exclusives matter. But now, just a few weeks ago, people were passing out different types of exclusives. Like, not only do exclusives matters, but some exclusives are more equal than others. You know, they went all Animal Farm on these exclusives. And now they finally come to realize that they want to keep their exclusives. I don't know. So the whole point for Microsoft's business, they can do whatever they want. Microsoft has been disappointing me for like the last 10 years. So you know what? Fair enough. I'll let you guys talk.
All right. We got a super chat. SNK says Kim Jong-Phil is dethroned. CFO now has the power. I don't think, you know. So here it is, man. Here it is. So we got Chuck. Chuck. Okay, P-Rock. Now play the Phil Spencer Jez interview that Phil Spencer did right after this, which will shut down the multiplat rumor. No! I know the interview you're talking about. And let me show you exactly what the Phil Spencer interview. Jez only asked about Game Pass. He didn't say anything about multiplat, right? Because I know I'll be fair, Phil. Let's see. What is
That's
it?
what I was talking about. I think the whole Game Pass thing was he shut that down like 30 hours after that rumor came out.
Yeah, Windows Central and Phil Spencer. And this is why I even made a video saying why didn't they talk about. And this wasn't after this interview, right? So this was after the CFO. We have no plans to bring Xbox Game Pass to PlayStation and Nintendo. Xbox Phil CEO on console hardware. So that's why he said. And this was December 1st. This interview was December 1st. Goddamn Windows Central. Windows Central. You don't put a date on your articles? What the hell's wrong with you? How the hell are we gonna cite it?
I thought it said the 20. Hold on, go back up. I thought it said.
Did I miss it?
No,
Did I miss the date?
Yeah, I think it may be at the bottom. It's Windows Central.
Oh no, there it is, December 1st.
Yeah, I was about to say because this is what we were just
December
talking about.
1st.
Was that
yeah.
They came out within like 30 to 36 hours. It was fast, and they were like, no, and he had that official. That's your official press release. Everybody's like, all right, Game Pass isn't coming. So like I said, it's I understand. Look, I can see it both ways. I'm just gonna wait for them to announce something definitively. That's what I've always said. But I can actually see them putting the parts in place now. When they first announced Game Pass, they said, what if you could play any game, anytime, on any device you wanted? And I thought out loud, I said, well, if I want to play on a Nintendo console or PlayStation, what are you all going to do? Put games on other platforms? Oh, that's what they're going to do. Yeah. So it makes sense to me why they would want to. That's all I can say. I've had people in my comment section, I mean, good conversation, saying that, well, Spider-Man cost them close to $380 million to make, and they just have it on one console. I'm like, well, they made all their money back like within 40 hours. The game came out, it's so ridiculously well. So it is what it is. It's just I'm starting to feel bad for them, but I really hope Microsoft, maybe it's tomorrow, developers thing they're doing, Dev Direct, they could just address it tomorrow. You know, just say, hey, look, all these rumors are out here. What is you all's point? That's all they have to ask. So hopefully they can clear it up tomorrow, in my opinion.
Wait, hold on. Let me show. So that way Truck can see. So Jez's article December 1st. This interview for Satya Nadella was held on the annual shareholders meeting virtually, December 7th.
Pearl Harbor Day.
So 6 days. Oh shit, man, why you gotta go there? God damn. Right? So Chuck, this was 6 days after the Jez Corden interview. And this is Phil's boss. So
one more and he actually was on his podcast with Randall Thor saying that he been hearing some things.
Who?
Whether it's, talk about Jez Gordon.
Oh,
He was
yeah,
saying that he
but
yes, and this
but
was
yeah,
after
but screw, yeah. What I get that, but let's hit trucks right there. You're seeing it right there. That's a calendar. Let me help you out here, Truck. What does that say? Highlight in blue. December 1st.
waiting room.
Who? Is he in a waiting room? I thought he could jump on. He should be able to jump on. Yo, Jazz, you should be able to jump on. Let me see. All right. Let me double check. I'll jump them in. I'm gonna check. Let me check something.
Yo, what's up, man?
Yeah. Hey, you don't have to go in the waiting room. You got podcast guest rights. You could just jump in live on air.
Oh, cool. Sorry about that.
I told you I ain't serving you out the fridge. I told you that last time. You gotta get your own beer now. I'll be like, you get. In fact, you get your beer and you bring me one, and meet me in the living room while we we already saw the Cowboys and Eagles lost. So.
Dude, that was hilarious.
We all NFC East. We all watching the Super Bowl together.
That's right. Dude, when I saw the Eagles lose, I was like, the Giants are the only ones that could go to playoffs and do something, man. These other guys, all those front runners talking about Dallas this and Eagles. Get the hell out of here.
Listen, we
playoff teams, dude.
I'm sorry for derailing. I just had to bring that up. I'm sorry. Hey, to my chat. Hey, I apologize for derailing.
The Giants are not great, but man, it was fun.
Listen, you don't understand. Listen. And you guys are too busy worrying about spiders. All right, but listen, you gotta understand.
We don't know what you're talking about.
Listen. There's only one thing I gotta say. On Sunday, America's dominated by two things: God and football. That's it. All right. That's how God and football, baby. God and football. God and football. You understand what I'm saying? And if you notice, all religious services end at 12, because kickoffs at 1 o'clock. Like speed it up. Speed this up, Reverend. Kickoffs at 1. Jesus will understand. No, but let's say, hey, P-Rock, could you make them a little louder? Oh, here we go again. I think they're all maxed out. There's nothing I could do on my end. Well, he's good. Gaming Groundhouse.
Am I good?
Yeah, you're good now.
2. All right.
I think everybody should be good.
Yeah.
Hey, listen,
let me know.
Your speakers up. We can't be doing this every week.
Yeah, let me know. Unless you guys got your speakers maxed out.
It's a you problem. It's a you problem.
No, I'm just saying. Let me know if you may have to adjust your volume.
Unless better.
Unless you got this all maxed out, then I don't know. But okay. The video.
We just roasted the chat and we'll talk about the video.
Okay. Video. I'm sorry. I don't know. But just to hit Chuck's point, December 1st, and he only addressed Game Pass, to which we already knew Game Pass wasn't coming to PlayStation, Nintendo, and why? Is it because of Microsoft? Hey, Jez, you up in here?
Yo.
Is Microsoft the reason why Game Pass is not coming to PlayStation and Nintendo? Are they the ones saying no?
No. It's Nintendo and Sony that don't want Game Pass. Phil even said it on their oath. He was saying that, I would put it all there, but, they just don't want it, dude. And why would they want it? Majority of Game Pass content is third-party stuff that could be purchased from their stores, especially PlayStation Store. So why would you want somebody to be getting the game through Xbox and bypassing the PlayStation Store? Until Microsoft makes Game Pass unique and exclusives or things that are not available on PlayStation, that's the only other way that it may be appealing. But it doesn't look like they want to wait that long.
Totally, and that's totally understandable, right? So, guys like Chuck, they try to mix and move the pieces around. No, we got a calendar date. Phil had an interview with Jazz, but they only spoke on Game Pass. And here's my question. Why didn't Jazz follow on with the question, what about a la carte sales? Meaning just simply selling your games on PlayStation, Nintendo. No Game Pass, but selling the games. Notice that question wasn't asked.
Nope.
Because
He did not even ask that.
Game Pass is not the only way for Microsoft to provide games. Look at Steam. Microsoft has games on Steam for sale. Steam sells Xbox games. And if you want to be honest, Steam is a competitor to the Microsoft Gaming Store on PC.
Yeah. And why did they go to Steam? P-Rock, why did they go to Steam?
Because that's where the PC gamers are at. No,
exactly. So
that's where the PC gamers are.
They did a whole Windows 10 thing where only their games were available.
UWP, cross-buy, all this shit to boost up their own store. It failed.
Nobody went there.
Nobody. So they said, you know what? We're going to go where the gamers are at on PC. The gamers on PC are on Steam. Steam is not a Microsoft ecosystem. That does not belong to them.
Nope.
At all. That belongs to Valve. That is a competitor to the Windows Store. Why would you want people to, let's say, buy Hogwarts on Steam when you should be encouraging them to buy Hogwarts on your Windows Store? That's where you make your money.
Yeah,
they said fine.
No, the other thing too is that you saw the other thing, like you were mentioning about UWP. The thing is with UWP is that was a whole thing against piracy, and there was like it took almost 2.5 years, I think, for them to crack Gears 4. But if you remember, when they went over to Steam, they scrapped UWP, and they even screwed some devs that were exclusively using UWP, and they were pissed off. I think the guy was making some like Shark game or something like that. He got real pissed off because he bet on UWP, and Microsoft's like, we're not using it. We're using this new file framework because they were putting their content on Steam. And because of that, if you look, Gears 5 only took like 48 hours, not even 24 hours to crack using the new, the other one that they were using, the open-ended one. I forgot what it was called, but then it wasn't UWP, and that went on Steam. So they basically sacrificed that UWP, because if you remember, UWP, those apps go into your operating system, into folders that you can't even access. They're like locked away behind Windows, and people were upset like for mod support and things like that. That's why PC gamers never gravitated to the Windows Store, because there were restrictions for piracy that Microsoft put on those games in there. But they scrapped the whole idea of UWP, and when they put their stuff on Steam, they just said, yeah, we're done with that UWP. So it was a whole industry change too. It wasn't just but you could see that they really said that nobody's coming to the store. In order to get it, we got to go where gamers are on Steam, and that's what they did with Master Chief Collection being the first game that they announced going to Steam at Xbox Inside Xbox. Master Chief Collection was the first one.
Now with that, right? We go. I gotta put this. We have to really look at what Microsoft, to the best extent possible, what is Satya seeing? Number one, Satya doesn't really like exclusive hardware. He even said that himself. He said if it was up to him, there will be no exclusives on anything. He really is not really into hardware like that, right? He's more into cloud, taking advantage of every device that's out there. That's his mentality for everything and stuff like that, right? But let's say if Phil in 2014, when he had that conversation on the future of Xbox and where to go, let's say part of it was hardware, right? It was hardware. And let's say he tried to tell him like, hey, we can do this. We can leverage hardware in the gaming space as well as cloud, as well as Game Pass, as well as subscription services. We can do it all. We can leverage PC, we can leverage cloud gaming, TVs, phones, mobile, and within the console market, we will be in a better position to gain ground in the market simply with this strategy. Strategy number one, Game Pass will be a huge, catalyst of market share in the console, and we're going to design a 2 console prong strategy. We're going to have a console that caters to the hardcore, to the enthusiasts, to those that really want performance and capabilities in their games. So that market of console gamers. We're also going to cater to the casuals, where the performance and the graphics aren't too great. Where they're more concerned about is affordability, the cost of the console, which we all seen, as consoles drop in price, they sell better because they hit a new market of people that wait for $300 price drops and stuff like that. So we've seen that. So that's not a far-fetched thing. But instead of waiting for the main console to price drop, already have one out in the market for $300, right? It's capable. Sure, you could talk about its technical aspects. You could even talk about how Microsoft kind of exaggerated on, oh, it's just Xbox Series X, but in 1080p, 1440p, which is not quite true. But whatever. At the end of the day, though, it's a small little box, cheaply priced, and you get Game Pass. Game Pass, a 2 console prong strategy. Send that out on the market. Sounds great, right? This was reinforced with the Microsoft leak. When, we saw an email from Phil to Satya, and he CC'd some people talking about how he felt after the Sony PlayStation revealed the PS5. You saw his feelings. He felt confident. He said, in the beginning, he was still worried, what's going on, because he knows PlayStation is a powerful force in gaming. And he was still, he still had his, there were things that was keeping him up at night. But once he saw that reveal and the reaction to the reveal, he felt more confident in going in the right direction, right? This was like March or April. It was around the time when Sony revealed their PS5. So at that point in time, he reiterated to Satya, hey, I feel confident and we're going in the right direction. We have a great product. We have all the metrics we need. We have the value proposition. We have the performance proposition. He felt good. That's probably reaffirming to his boss, we're on the right path. With Game Pass, with PC, and we're heading right in the right path to gain mind share, market share, to do better in the console market, and get our, not just the foot, but really bring back what the 360 did. Cool. Now you fast forward, launch, year 1, year 2, year 3. Let me show y'all what we get. Let me show y'all something. Let me show you how, after all that, this is what we're getting. This is how it looks. We get this. This is what we're getting. This is what he's seen in like, let's say for example in Europe. This is the result right here. Let's just catch up for a little bit. But you all seen this. This is Europe. This is the end result. This is what Satya sees. This is what he sees in Europe. He sees MPD results in America, which is Xbox strongest market. Japan, let's not even bring the Pacific up. Let's not even. This is what Satya sees. Satya's like, nah, we can't be doing this. He doesn't even like the idea of hardware anyway. Right, saying? So he's not really profound, but even if you were able to convince him, that shit died. That hardware shit, he's looking at Phil like, nah, Phil, I got it. You got guys like Tim Dog, you do Xbox Fan Fest, but I'm gonna tell you something. 2 years in a row, I lost compensation because of this brand. Nah, I'm done with this. Satya's like, I didn't even like this strategy to begin with. I wasn't even really all keen. I just let it happen. I gave you the opportunity. Now I lost compensation 2 years in a row. This year's compensation, did you know he wrote off Xbox out of this year's compensation? That's not part of his metrics for this year.
It was the growth of Xbox Game Pass that he took out.
Yeah. So that's not even, that's not even on his metric no more. You're going to convince this guy hardware's the way for Xbox? That, hey, I just spent $70 billion and I'm going to keep it exclusive to these guys? You guys are this. He did that for this. No, that shit died. That shit, he's done with that. He doesn't even like the idea of hardware exclusive to, providing software exclusively for a specific group. He doesn't even like that idea in general for anything. After seeing this, oh, he's done. He's done with that. He's like, no, this, you can't make money off this. You can't make money off just focusing on a hardware device that no one's really buying, right? Which means you're not getting the growth that you're expecting. You're not getting the game sales you're expecting. You're not getting the Game Pass subscription sales you're getting, right? So what he likes, and let's be honest, right? What he likes is PlayStation already has established footing. And it keeps getting bigger. Nintendo has established footing. And if the rumors are right, they're releasing the Switch 2. And that thing's going to sell like hotcakes. It's going to sell faster and surpass their own Xbox Series console. He wants in on that. He wants in on that. It's a simple proposition. And he'll be more than happy to gain all those users. I mean, what did Sony just report? 123 million active users, since that's their number, right? Because that's the new sexy for Microsoft. Active users, right? Well, Sony just reported their highest active user count ever. 123 million. So you know Satya's like licking his lips. You know, he's biting the bottom of his lip like if it's a fat ass. He's like... Ooh, you know what I'm saying? When Sony reported 123 million users, he was like, boy, girl, bring that ass over here. You know what I'm saying? He like, you know what I'm talking about? Yo, my man up in a club, you know, my man club with his Henny, and he's like, he sees that MAU walking by. He's like this.
He's like, you sure are a pretty man.
You know, he telling his boy Phil, yo, Phil, hold my drink real quick. And he's stepping up to Shorty. You know, he's doing the universal rub your hands. He's like, yo, what's up, girl? What's up? Yo, I heard you rocking 123 million, though. You know what I'm saying? Maybe we should do something. You know what I'm saying? We got, I got some stuff over here. You know, I'm cooking some stuff. I'm doing big balling things. You know, give me your number and shit. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, yo. And then his cheating ass, after hooking up with PlayStation, he just got PlayStation's number. Nintendo walks by with the new, and he's like, yo, shorty. Yo, let me holler. You know what I'm saying? I'm just saying. I heard you doing new things up in here. You know what I'm saying? A dude like me, we could do something. Yeah.
Not even Master Cheeks ass cheeks could tame Satya now.
He like, yo, all right, we good. You know what I'm saying? He playing the field. He ain't loyal. Man, he hitting everything. Satya's out there playing. He being a player. You know what I'm saying? The real question is, here's a real question. At what point these Xbox dudes start realizing, yo, this shit's over. The gig is up. At what point do these guys come home from the war and start collecting their VA benefits? Because it's time to cash in on, it's time to collect your DD-214. Services is rendered. The war's over. Have you not read the daily news? No.
They tried so many ways. They pivoted so many times throughout this whole experiment. I call it since 2017, which I never liked it to begin with. And we were told that everybody should be following this. Everybody's gonna be doing this. They're twisting and turning every which way to try to make this work because they have an end vision. They just don't know how to get there. They want 110, 200 billion gamers to be on Microsoft something, tools or whatever the hell they're using. And the problem is that they don't know how to get there, and they don't have a great track record, the company as a whole, to try to get developers or start up new things. They, just look at the whole augmented reality that they scrapped. And meanwhile, now Apple and Meta are now taking it on now with this stuff. The even talking to your console, and now people thought that was crazy. They could never get people to adapt to that stuff, and now somebody came along and did it better. Same thing with Zune Music. Spotify, they didn't exist. Zoom Music was the first gaming music subscription. They don't have a good legacy in bringing on developers. They talk a lot in the beginning and want to be part of the conversation, but their implementation is never effective. And I think a lot of it has to do with they're just very impatient. They don't want to, like what you were saying before, how if you just start building the games and things like that and having it grow that way, instead they just want to rush to the end, almost like the tortoise and the hare. You just want to just run to the end of this whole thing and just get to the end as fast as they can, but they don't really have a way of getting there. And that's why they just keep changing every which way. And what they're doing is that they're pissing off their fan base because they're leading them on, and then they're switching up the narrative and going, well, it's about consoles, but it's not about that. It's about PC, but then it's about mobile phones, and it's just they're all over the place, and that's what they've been for the last 5 years. They're all over.
So,
Jez, what you just said there is the most poignant thing about Microsoft. They are not a patient company. You talked about the Zune before, which is so close to my heart because Zune was amazing.
Yes, it was
incredible.
The thing was barely 5 years old. Everybody's telling you this is an amazing device. All you have to do is just finalize these last little bits. Just stay in here for like an extra 5 years and you will see the success. They refuse to do it. You take a look at even Windows Phone. I liked Windows Phone. I never
I
had a
liked it
Windows
too,
Phone
man.
personally,
I
but
had
I
it too.
always like whenever I played with it, I'm like, there is something here. All you have to do is get these developers to take you seriously. Pay them if you have to. You're
They
fucking
did.
Microsoft.
Still
You
didn't
know,
work.
like, hey, listen, pay them more. Like, buy them. Buy
They could
them.
not do
The
it.
point is, you bought Nokia for $3 billion. You went old. It's like, this is the thing with Microsoft. It's so weird because it's almost like that schizophrenic. One moment they're cold, the next one they are super hot. They're like, okay, billions of dollars are going now into this thing. The next moment, like freaking, like I don't know, Helheim from from God of War again. It is fucking frozen again. They're like, yeah, we spent billions of dollars. Fuck this shit. We're done. And people are like, but wait, why are you saying that you're done? Just as things are actually starting to look good. People are starting to look at you like, hey, you're a competitor. We can see, what you do. People love the Nokia phone series from
They were incredible phones, man. I had that huge one. And it was monstrous.
Exactly. Like let me tell you, it's just like when people are finally starting to take you seriously, it's the moment that you decide, yeah, actually, nah. Because
and look
like
who shut him down. And who shut him down? Satya.
Yeah,
He shut it down, and he regretted it. And he said it last year. He regretted turning down Windows Phone because they don't have a mobile store. They don't have a mobile front. They don't have anything. They have to depend on Apple and Google. And now the law just said you can't put anything on an Apple. So that screwed their whole friggin' approach now to building a Microsoft store on Apple. They're like a virus. Like they need their competition.
Even if they had that Apple store, like their own version on the Apple system,
Yeah.
people would first not take to it. Then they will do some amazing thing. Like they will buy some kind of like store creating company for like $1 billion. They will get the marketing right. And then just as people are starting to be like, okay, I guess I will download this app from the Microsoft store, they shut that shit down as well. Like this is Microsoft. They are the most schizophrenic company. Like Google is pretty much just as bad as them, but for Microsoft, you're always like, exactly.
Dude, they spend all that money on Ninja and all that shit.
Let me tell you, they don't even let the contract run out. It's like you couldn't even finish your contract.
Right?
Like you just gave the guy free money. You were just like, you know what, fuck it, just give it.
Shroud millions, and they're like, they're serious about it. Look how much money they spent. 6 months later, the whole thing went belly up. They just scrapped the whole thing. People moved their channels over and everything, and it was a good streaming service too. Like it was better quality than Twitch. Yeah.
Let me play.
I think Microsoft is bored by challenge. I think they are. Whenever they are challenging something, they just get bored of it. They're like, you know what? I don't want to do it anymore. It's like the rich kid that wants to get a violin lesson, so he goes and buys a $200,000 violin. Then he tries it, buys like a tutor that costs him $10,000 an hour, goes for it, goes it for about 6 months. Just when he's starting to get good, he's like, wait a second, wait. You're telling me that I'm just starting to get good? Like it's gonna take me another 10 years before I can justify. Oh, nah, fuck this. Let's just go something else. You know what? Golf sounds good.
Let me allow me to show this video again. I know you guys in the crew saw this. Some of you who watch the show weekly, again, I appreciate. Thank you very much. Hit the like button. But there's a lot of you who maybe this is your first time watching this channel, watching this topic, or you just over the last couple of weeks you're new. I'm gonna show you, since we're on the topic of like why does Microsoft do things different, just a different attitude when it comes to making stuff, developing stuff, and sticking with stuff. I want you to hear this, right? Listen to this. For those who saw it. For those who haven't, this is for you. But I think this is a good time to show this again and remind us what's going on. Interesting point. You know what I'm saying? The companies either go bankrupt, or they acquire, or they merge to keep going. I mean, mic drop. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. But, main thing is, though, I think you just got time is, number one, it's not even think, because we heard him say it. Microsoft, the bigwigs, are done looking at PlayStation and Nintendo as competitors, because you even heard it from Phil's mouth, you can't out-console them. So if you keep trying, it's just going to ultimately fighting a battle that I guarantee this guy on the screen, Satya Nadella, does not like. He doesn't like this hardware shit to begin with. Like I said before, it's not his thing. He just prefers. He's even trying to get Windows, the OS, onto the cloud to where you no longer have to install it on any hardware. Where Windows is a OS cloud operating system. So even Windows, he would like it to be free from the confines of being installed on hardware where you need a specific CPU, you need a specific, minimum specs to run his OS. He wants Windows on any device, every device, through the cloud, if possible. You understand what I'm saying? So this dude is so far removed from this whole console shit. They probably had a hard time just even explaining it to him in the beginning. But, he greenlighted it. He hit the green lit button. Do what you got to do. But at this point, we see the hardware, and I'm gonna start off with, here we go. We'll start off with I know Craig's here. I know, Craig, you tend to leave early, right? So I'm gonna ask this, Craig, right? Yeah. What do you think of this? And here's my question.
Yeah.
This gen, what do you think is the worst thing that happened to Microsoft? Whether, in whatever respect you could think of. I mean, not Microsoft, but Xbox. What do you think this gen, the worst thing happened to the brand?
I think at the very beginning of it, there's that. It sounds silly, but this is just what I saw, which was the tech demo that Epic ran on the PlayStation 5. When people actually got to see something running on one of the devices, everything, the whole conversation changed. It went from Microsoft has 12 T-flops, Microsoft has 52 CUs, to their system can't run this demo because it's not fast enough, it doesn't have the speed, they're like, it has VRS and VRR, and and I think we all agree that Sony should have had that out the box. I think we all agree. But to me, when people can see something physically doing something, that will change your perspective, because now it goes from what could be to what is. And it doesn't matter what kind of product you have. That is, when people get their hands on it, it changes everything. We have different companies coming in showing us different medical equipment, and the one that always gets picked is the one that's easiest to use. No matter what, no matter who's bringing it in, whether it's J&J or Stryker or whoever, Biomed, it doesn't matter. And just to me, when people saw that demo running on a PS5, not on a PC, then you have Linus Tech Tips getting into it with the Epic whatever he was, Epic programmer CEO, whatever he is. That was it. I mean, it's kind of like, okay, the whole gaming conversation switched. It literally switched at that day, because I was off that day, and it went from Xbox is going to be able to run all these multiplats better to this, and just the actual reaction to just that was the end, because we did, and then the first game started coming out and PlayStation was outperforming them. It's like, wait a minute, you all said 52 CUs and 12 T-flops. So I think that they got a bad rep from the jump. They just had a bad start. They flooded the engine, so to speak. They're back on the track now. Their release cadence is going to start happening. I think that's a good thing for them. It just sounds like, based on what Satya Nadella and the CFO of Xbox is saying, it could be a little too late. But have to wait and see.
All right. Okay. M. Your opinion. What do you think is the worst thing that happened this gen for Xbox in relation to the console? Phil Spencer? Okay.
Phil Spencer is by far the worst thing that's ever happened to Xbox. Because, and I've said this before, Xbox is focused on solving problems that gamers don't have. This whole Xbox Series S being, pegged as the affordable solution, that's not the thing that gamers ever wanted. Gaming is a luxury hobby, and people want luxury products. That is just it. Like this nonsense that people have, where they're like, oh, people want gaming to be more affordable. No, they don't. There's plenty of ways to make gaming more affordable. You can play God of War Ragnarok probably for $1 if you just wait another year. Like, you can get, gaming is the only hobby where you can get the premium product improved over time for cheaper with literally no repercussions other than you might get spoiled if you're on Twitter. Like, that is literally the only bad thing that can happen from playing a game after its release, that somebody is going to come and spoil it for you. Aside from that, the product will be better, it will be cheaper, it will probably load faster, It will come with more features. It might have expansions already, so you don't have to play a game, wait a year, learn how to play it again, then try playing the new expansion again. But no, instead of just focusing on delivering games, what was Phil Spencer trying to do? He was trying to peg Xbox as little Timmy can afford to play over here. We've got Xbox All Access. We've got Xbox this. We've got Xbox Game Pass. Play your games day one. But the thing that he doesn't want to answer is, what games are you going to play? No, he just wants to cheapen the hobby. And I'm telling you that in a luxury hobby where there's only 3 players, people are not interested in the value proposition. This isn't like back in the 80s where there were like 7 different console manufacturers. So like being the person that offered value has some value to it. This is a luxury hobby. It will be like, listen, if the only car manufacturers were the German brands, like the big 4 like Volkswagen, Audi, BMW, and Mercedes, and those were the only automotive brands on earth, and automobiles were just luxury items, they were not everyday necessities, then who do you think you would be coming and offering a Kia? Nobody would want to buy your Kia, because again, it will be a luxury commodity, not a necessity for a part of life. And the truth is, gaming is luxury, right? We do these things because we choose to, not because we have to. And since there's only a few players, you are not going to be the one to be successful trying to put forward a value proposition. Phil Spencer is the worst thing that happened to Xbox. As long as he's on top, they're not going to recover.
Okay. Good points. Jazz, how about you? What do you think is the worst thing that happened for Xbox across in any way, shape, or form?
I tell you, it's all about the games, and I agree with the Phil Spencer thing. I think the way it is, but I'm going to tell you, it's about the games, and actually one game in particular.
Okay.
Halo. Halo was the biggest failure of the Xbox. This was supposed to be the launch title for the brand new console. This was the rallying call to get them back on track after having some low years prior to that. They bought some studios. Halo Infinite was a big failure. That was an experiment with separating out the multiplayer and making this games as a service, turning their biggest franchise, the identity of Xbox, into a service, multiplayer, and campaign that was going into Game Pass. And the thing is that while it did get, it brought, and you can even tell, I remember that first night when Halo Infinite released and everybody was playing it, it was like the one of those moments that you had back in the old Xbox 360 days, or just like those like Gears and Halo days. But it quickly died off because they didn't have a plan. They didn't have a proper management of getting Halo to the expectations of what it should be, and it took them forever to do that, even after a delay, and causing them not to have a launch title for the launch of their brand new platform. So the fact that Halo even got delayed a year, that was a travesty to the gen of starting off this generation. And they had the biggest opportunity there with Sony's low stock. But Halo not being there, a game not to play with your Xbox, just play your old stuff that you've been playing. People were doing that. They wanted something new with their new console. Halo wasn't there to meet them at launch. That was a big thing for Phil to do, because that was sort of like a callback to the OG Xbox, that we launched that with a Halo. We're back in the swing of things. It was a rallying call, and that's where they needed to start, and they missed it. And then to have that game delayed a year and then come out with none of the features that were expected, dropping the co-op multiplayer, which Halo has had, and they confirmed that they needed to have that split screen co-op. The next one will have it. The fact that Bonnie Ross and 343 completely dissolved after that release, and Season 5 just released, and they have not gotten back to fixing Halo. And the content is still not all there. Like, they have people making forge maps, but I think they missed their way with Halo, and that could have been their rallying call. That could have been the thing that was the spark to light up the flame to make Xbox, back in the swing of things. But they failed their biggest franchise, and that's their identity. A lot of people say, like, Halo is washed up and stuff like that. Not to Xbox, not to the console. If Halo hit and Halo was consistent, that would have been a start, and it would have been the thing that they needed to start building off of. But they keep tripping over themselves. They're like walking on 2 left feet, just tripping over themselves every single time. And I think the second thing going along with the games is even the Starfield, the bet that they made, $7 billion, and did it hit the way they wanted it to hit, and I don't think it did. And I think those two big tent poles really made them very challenged to try to even get back branding wise.
Okay.
Yeah,
Yo,
and I
Jez,
agree.
just sorry, just one more thing. Just sorry.
Mhm.
You just talked
Hold
about
on.
games, yeah? Who is it that approved showing?
Oh no, it's
Halo?
Phil. I agree. Phil has
I'm
been
just
the.
like, are you serious? How did you watch that thing and be like, yes,
Joe Craig.
this has my approval? If I had seen that thing, even if it was 3 months, I would be like, okay, who am I firing today? Who am I firing next week? Who am I firing the week after that? You can just put yourselves in a line, because I will fire you every single week until you give me a good product. And only when it is a good product will the firing stop. Otherwise, each one of you is going to take the fall, one head per week. I will walk in here, you tell me who it is I'm firing. I don't care who it is, I will fire them immediately on the spot, and I will come back week after week until you make this a good game. That thing was so abysmal. And then this motherfucker went over to freaking Bethesda, saw Starfield, and thought, yes, this is worth $7 billion. Like, are you fucking Starfield? That garbage ass game. You thought, yeah, let me prevent Sony from wasting their money on this. He could have been like, you know what, fuck Starfield. Let me just go quickly dip over there to Baldur's Gate 3 and let me get that RPG instead. Like, you already knew that PlayStation was going to put down their money and waste it on this garbage ass product. And instead of being smart, like the video just said, you were so focused on what your competition was trying to do that you were like, let me prevent them from doing this. And you spent $7 billion to stop PlayStation from having Starfield, which would not have paid off anyway, because it's a garbage ass game no matter what platform it's on. And you could have used that money better instead, acquiring better developers. But no, last year's Game of the Year awards consisted of 6 games for the Game of the Year category. 3 of those could have been Xbox exclusive games, or at least featured on Game Pass. And Phil Spencer saw all of those opportunities and missed.
Yeah.
Well, to be fair,
Yeah.
well, to be fair with Bethesda, critically, the game was at best average. You could say arguably it's at best average, right? At best average critically for Metacritic, didn't win Game of the Year, but financially it did well for them. I can't really speak on how well Starfield did in terms of gaining Game Pass subscribers, but it sold well on Steam, right? Don't really know how it sold on a console, but it sold well on Steam. But also they gain other things that do well. Like now they control Elder Scrolls Online, which does really well. Fallout 76 does really well as a games as a service, right? And now they have even more developers to produce more games for Game Pass, because that's a weakness they have. They didn't have enough people to consistently produce content, to place onto the service, right? They still do have big IPs like Elder Scrolls 6, which in my opinion, I think Elder Scrolls and Fallout will fare better than Starfield, only because they're already established franchises. And they have something Starfield don't have, which is a lore, right? I think I know talking to some guys, it's like you play Starfield and it's like, some of them described it as, it felt like that was Bethesda's first attempt at an RPG, vice something someone with experience, right? But games like Elder Scrolls, they have a fan base, they have a lore, they have stories behind it, the regions and the different factions and stuff like that. And those games have a lot of things that Starfield don't have. Like you have an actual population, you have different cultures, different characters and, different things, right? It's not, regardless of what planet you land on, it's still a human being, right? Same thing with Fallout. You at least have your mutants and stuff like that. You have the ghouls and, you still have a little bit of history and stuff like that, right? And then you still have other games that we still don't know about. I know they're talking about, Indiana Jones, but you still have Doom Guy, which is a popular FPS. So they absorbed a lot of IPs that's going to help stack, their game pipeline. Prey, Wolfenstein, so they did buy a lot of IPs, a lot of, personnel to produce games and stuff like that, right? So I would say, just to be fair, like Starfield in itself, you could say critically, the hype failed. It was nowhere near what people we're hyping it has, and we can all admit that it is definitely not game of the gen on any level and stuff like that. But I think from a financial perspective, I think it did fine. It was still top 10 on NPD. Steam sales was good. And overall, the acquisition of Bethesda is netting them revenue across a lot of things that's already established. Again, Elder Scrolls Online, Fallout 76. So overall,
I think really.
Let me counter that real quick, because the thing is, you guys don't understand how truly garbage Starfield is. Like, let me just talk from a financial perspective, okay? Let me tell you, Starfield hasn't even gotten out of the hole of its own making. Let me tell you what I mean by that. They predicted they would have sold 10 million copies on PlayStation. They haven't even made up the revenue that they have lost by making it exclusive. So the fact that they sold, what, 240 million or whatever on Steam, even if you're like, okay, it sold half as much again on the console, that's 360 million. That is still nowhere near the 600 million they were predicting to make on PlayStation, without counting Steam, without counting Xbox. So Starfield is garbage, and financially it performed garbage as well. There's a reason why Pete Hines left Bethesda. And yes, you can say for $7 billion they bought everything else besides Starfield. They bought, the studios and the personnel, and that's fine. Okay, cool. But the game itself didn't even make up the revenue that they predicted they were going to make on PlayStation. So whatever benefit that he had is still not enough.
So I'm gonna counter that. That prediction was based on Bethesda as a standalone third-party provider. That's their metric. That was their own internal metric when they were a third party on their own, on themselves, making games for multiple platforms. Once Microsoft bought Bethesda, Microsoft decides the new metric. Bethesda's metric. No. If I buy you, you don't get to tell me what my new metric is, because listen, let me finish my point. Don't interrupt. I didn't interrupt you. I let you finish. Let me rock. Let me get this working, right? The new metric when I'm buying you, Starfield is just one portion of what I'm buying you for, right? If you had internal metrics for Starfield, that's because you are a straight third-party publisher. You need that game to succeed because that's your model, that's whatever. I'm buying, Microsoft's buying Bethesda for the whole part, right? So now Starfield has a new metric internally for what Microsoft wants to do at that given time. And that's specifically what you're going to do for me as part of Steam, what you're going to do for me as part of Game Pass, and what you're going to do for me as part of Xbox consoles. I'm not worried about PlayStation at this point in time. As far as PlayStation goes, I'm going to take advantage of what you already established, which is Elder Scrolls Online, Fallout 76, all the historic titles that's already there, the games that's already been released. I'm fine with that, whatever. But all this new stuff, this is the new metric and whatever. Now, the game could be completely garbage. I'm not even going to argue that. Let's say it's dog shit, absolute trash. That still doesn't change the financial aspect of what the game is supposed to do. But I think overall, Bethesda purchase wasn't just on the soul. I know they talk about, once we heard about Starfield, we got to buy it. I think it's the whole holistic picture of Bethesda. It's everything that Bethesda brings to PlayStation.
It actually, everything. If you remember when they made the purchase, they were focusing more on growing the PC, and Bethesda had, ZeniMax had a lot of PC influence there, and they were trying to expand to there. So that's another reason why they did. That's why I said Halo. I think Halo really kind of got him in a hole because they pissed off the Halo community, the diehard fans, with the content and rollout of that thing. And they kind of just, and look what they're doing to Forza too. The Forza community, they're taking the big franchises that they're known for and that they built upon, and they just don't seem to get it when they're releasing them. And the community's definitely not happy.
Yeah.
All right.
Let me
go
counter
ahead.
you.
All right.
Okay. So if you were to buy a mom and pop store, okay, and then this mom and pop store, let's just keep the figures simple. They make $6 million a year in revenue, or at least the projection makes $6 million a year in revenue. They've got their strategy, they've got their products and everything. You're a big conglomerate, and you're like, okay, cool. Now, half of these products that you're selling, those don't vibe with our brand or whatever. So we're gonna come in, we're gonna tell you what you sell, we're gonna do this, we're gonna do that, and they're like, cool, you earn us, no problem. But now you take that product from making $6 million a year, you take that store from making $6 million a year to make it only $2.8 million a year. You have failed in that acquisition. It doesn't matter what your grander strategy is. The point is you had a $6 million asset and you debased it to a $2.8 million asset. So yes, you can be like, we will take that loss, $3.2 million loss, it doesn't matter, as part of our acquisition and our grander plans. But at the end of the day, that store is devalued because of your input. And that's the point I'm trying to make with Starfield. It is a lesser product, it is a lesser financially performing product than it would have been without Microsoft's influence.
So, and I'm going to counter you, right? So the store is Bethesda, not Starfield. Starfield is a component in the store. So let's say, for example, your store, you do a lot of good things, but there's one product I'm like, you know what? You selling this product. I'm more into vegan, healthy stuff, so we're going to get rid of this product. This is not aligned to my overall goal, right? Sure, that decision caused you don't get sales from PlayStation, right? Starfield don't get from PlayStation, right? But that's not a Microsoft metric at the time. Microsoft knows you're not going to get this sell. They knew that. That's why I said that's not a Microsoft metric. If Bethesda was by themselves, sure, right? Because they're going to put their game on PlayStation. They expect a certain amount of sales on PlayStation. But once Microsoft absorbed Bethesda, that don't count no more. Because Bethesda doesn't get to say, hey, this game's supposed to sell 10 million on PlayStation. Microsoft says, got it, but that's not what we're interested at this point in time. What we're interested in what you can do for this, this, and this. You know what I'm saying? So if you want to say Bethesda's view holds more weight than Microsoft, that's really the argument you're going to have to make, which I don't agree because Bethesda's subordinate to Microsoft. Bethesda doesn't get to tell Microsoft what the metric is. Remember, Microsoft is absorbing all responsibility on this. You know, so Microsoft, I'm sure, is well aware that, hey, this game is going to do this, game's going to do that. But at this given time, when they purchase them, that's not what they're concerned about. They're not concerned at that time with PlayStation sales. And again, we don't know the long-term strategy, right? Microsoft long-term strategy says, hey, we got it. Don't worry about it. It will eventually go on PlayStation. We're just not doing that right now. We got a couple of things we need to figure out first. Because again, it's no longer about Bethesda strategy. Like you said, Peter Hines was not happy and he left. Why? Because he ain't the boss no more. Peter Hines could be like, you know, Microsoft, I really don't like, shut the fuck up. And then end the conversation. Go ahead.
And the thing is, let me tell you, I can bet you that Microsoft came in there, they made these changes, but they did not change the back end. Because you said there that they take all responsibility for what goes on moving forward. I don't think that they did. Because I bet you a lot of these executives at Bethesda, ZeniMax, their bonuses were still tied to how well the game did. So yes, you came in and then you said, well, listen, the overall goal, this is our metrics and only our metrics matter. But the point is the compensation to the people that you paid for, you didn't change that. You didn't compensate them for, listen, we understand that you're going to be taking a loss on this one. Because when we saw the court cases, and then Pete Hines was like, hey, how come Call of Duty gets to have this grace? And we were told all of a sudden that we don't get to put on PlayStation. If Microsoft had taken all responsibility, it would have been like even Steven to him. He would have been like, okay, I don't care. At the end of the day, I'm getting paid what I would have been paid anyway. What do I care if you decide that I go over there versus over there? So the point is, again, Starfield is a failure of a product. It failed commercially. It failed critically. It failed with the gamers because it's a garbage-ass game. And
so,
that's it. There's no defending it.
No, I'm going to counter you again.
It's not even about Starfield. It's not even about Starfield.
No. Don't go into a new topic. Allow me to counter. One, you don't know if the negotiation got changed. And I will argue that it did change because it would have to. If Microsoft bought Bethesda and Sony said, hey, this game is not launching on PlayStation, then right off the bat, developer goes, wait, we have a problem. Some of our compensation relies on this game going to PlayStation, and you're saying it's not. So we need to start renegotiating as part of this acquisition what the new compensation packages are. That's all going to be spelled out by the lawyers. That's all going to be talked about. If Microsoft's demand is you guys will not release games on PlayStation, but part of the original compensation for these developers and whoever is PlayStation, that has to be negotiated. That's not going to be ignored. Bethesda has their own lawyers to protect Bethesda's interest. So this is all going to be talked about. Now, what Peter Hines was talking about wasn't compensation and money. It was messaging. He was concerned that when, what's this dude's name? Tim, what's his fucking name? The developer of Starfield. Tim Howard.
Todd Howard.
Todd Howard. I said Tim. Todd Howard.
Tim Howard.
He specifically was concerned because remember, Peter Hines was dealing marketing and public relations. He was upset that he didn't get the full warning because what could have happened is Todd could have been on stage in an interview and they could have asked him, hey, why is Activision allowed to put their games on PlayStation, but you're not? And he didn't have time to prepare Todd Howard for that. That was what his complaint was. He felt they didn't put Bethesda in the proper position to give a proper message for interviews. And as we hype Starfield, that's what was his issue. Like, Activision, whatever. But would have been nice if you would have told Bethesda that. That way, if Howard would have been on an interview and they just threw the whole, hey, let me throw in a quick jab. Hey, Todd, quick question. Activision has no problem putting their big games on PlayStation. Microsoft's cool with that. Why aren't they cool with you doing that? And Todd would be like, he might be smart and remind people, well, if you remember what Phil said, he will decide what makes, he would pass the buck to Phil and be like, oh shit, let me pass the buck off to Phil. Phil said this, talk to him. Or he might say something stupid that now Microsoft had to backtrack. That was what Peter Hines was concerned about. It was all about the messaging protecting Todd Howard in this conversation. It wasn't compensation financial at all. But again, if your point is financial compensation, that would be talked about as part of that acquisition because all of that would be laid out.
Let me counter you and prove to you that everything you just said is false. Because when Phil Spencer first acquired ZeniMax, what did he say? He said that Bethesda and ZeniMax were going to run themselves. They were going to publish the game themselves, and he was basically not going to touch them. That's exactly what he said. And then suddenly he went out and he pulled that rank. He was like, hey, listen, actually, I am your boss. You're not putting this on PlayStation. Because if he had told them from the beginning, hey, listen, you're not going to be putting this game on PlayStation, and the lawyers had done their thing, guess what? Pete Hines would have prepared himself for the messaging then and there. Like, okay, this is why we are going to focus solely on Xbox and not put things on PlayStation. And then it wouldn't matter what Xbox did with any other game or any other studio, because they would have had their head on straight and there would have been no message. But he said to them, hey, listen, I'm buying you. You guys just do what you do. Just keep doing what you're doing. It won't be a problem. And then so they were caught off guard when suddenly they were like, oh, actually, yeah, scrap the PlayStation version. And then suddenly a few weeks later, they're like, yeah, you're no Call of Duty, that's fine.
All right, let me come to that. You think the conversation Phil has on the IGN podcast is the same of what lawyers in the rooms are discussing? You think they're having the same language? No, you for sure. But the truth is what's in. No. I think he's lying to you. No, he's lying to you. He's lying to us. The law, you can't lie on paper with lawyers. We're talking acquisition papers. That's what spells the truth. The lawyers are reading the fine terms. It's not what Phil says on the IGN podcast. Oh yeah, Bethesda run themselves. Trust me. No. It's what is in black and white from lawyer to lawyer. That paper said, hey, we running your shit. So Bethesda knew. It's on the paper. They're not looking they're not looking at no goddamn podcast and be like, it doesn't matter what it doesn't matter what he says. It doesn't matter what's on the black and white that you sign and that the lawyers all stamp. There's a difference on what the realtor tells you, and then there's what the damn lawyers when you sign the deed for your house says. Two different things. What does the deed say? That's where your signature is going to go, and that's where the lawyers are going to say, yep, that's the original stamp. This is sealed. This is approved. Submit it to the SEC. Submit it to every government organization. It's what's on that black and white paper. You cannot tell me because of what Phil decided to say to Paris, to goddamn Colt Eastwood or whoever the fuck he talked with. You can't tell me that's what counts. It's what the lawyers count. I guarantee the papers explicitly. And you know how they talk. That shit's probably like 10,000 pages, V. You party, section A, 3, 2, 1. Hey, we have all rights. We own all this. Blah, 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 blah. They knew they'd given up everything. They know that. That was all part of the acquisition. It has to be spelled that way. Everything's listed. Look at this, and I'll give you one more supporting evidence. Right? Separate entities, Sony and Bungie. Right? We knew publicly, even both Bungie and Sony publicly said that Bungie's autonomous. They're not part of Sony's first party. They will always they remain independent. Blah blah blah. Then come to find out, there's a little fine print no motherfucker talked about on any podcast. And that little fine print in real time, you said, if your bitch ass don't make this amount of money, we are dissolving your board members. We own your punk ass. No one talked about that. No one said that. That was that nice little fine print. Go ahead and shortchange us money. We now own you. You now belong to PlayStation. But as long as you make this money, you're good. But nobody addressed that. Not even Bungie. Bungie was live on podcast or whatever. They made a whole thing. Oh yeah, this is great. We talked to Herman Hulse. Everything's great. We have the same vision. All this bullshit they tell us. But come to find out last minute, we're going to share assets. And listen to us. Yeah. We're going to remain independent. That is our core ethos at Bungie. And then there's that little fine print that the lawyers talk to. The lawyers know. Yeah. Bungie lawyers know. Sony lawyers know. You don't make this. You failed to make this money. This little boardroom dissolved. You now fully underpublished. So that's what I'm saying. The lawyers know what the hell.
We gotta fund your ass. We gotta make up the money that you're not making us. So now we own you.
You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But I'm gonna say this, right? You guys brought a gay point, and I think and this is why I asked you guys these questions first, because you brought up certain things that probably lead to what I think is the worst thing that could happen to Xbox. And I think each of you addressed something that led to this. And to me, the worst thing that could happen to Xbox, I feel
like you feel like you're right.
I am.
You're clearly wrong. You're clearly wrong. Here's an article in front of me because I'm like, wait, why are you lying?
Oh man,
there's an article right in front of me that says here, Hines also claimed that he was blindsided by Starfield's exclusivity. And I keep telling you that Phil Spencer told them, hey, listen, don't worry about what's on the paper. You guys will be able to make your own decision. And then he was like, yeah, you maybe should have worried about it more, because clearly I'm going to take you away from PlayStation. I am telling you, if he had told them up front, this is not going to be on PlayStation, their messaging would have been clear. You wouldn't hear quotes like he also claimed that he was blindsided. Why would he be blindsided by a decision that he was forewarned before they were bought?
If you remember too, if you look at the emails, there was that internal kind of discussion with Tim Stewart and Matt Booty and about exclusivity. And Stewart didn't want all the Bethesda games to be exclusive, and Phil and Matt Booty were like, yes, we do. And those emails went back and forth. So I think Microsoft really didn't even know what they wanted to do. I think they were just saying, hey, Bethesda's going to be their thing. And then all of a sudden, they were allowed to try to grab some exclusivity.
That's exactly what I say, Jess. When they bought it, they were so preoccupied with PlayStation not having it that were basically like, hey, listen, we'll figure it out later.
Yeah, we'll figure it out later.
Well, don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. It'll be great. That's why they were blindsided.
And also, I'm sure for regulatory stuff as well.
If they were blindsided about marketing, they were definitely blindsided about the financial. Hines didn't leave because they were successful, boy.
And you remember that
just leave a job he's been at for 20 plus years because he was taken care of.
But if you remember the Pete Hines interview, they said, well, when did you decide to make this exclusive? And he's like, when Microsoft purchased us. So, if you remember, he said that, when they purchased them. So, I think there's definitely an internal thing, and we've seen it, too, with Stewart. The higher ups want to be everywhere, but I think Phil and Matt Booty, they're trying to grab that exclusivity stuff.
Send me the article you blind says it.
Let me see. This is you think you're talking to an expert here? I'll send you the link. The fuck?
All right, go ahead.
Send that email.
I'll send you the fucking link.
So send it.
But you know what? The thing is, too, is that P-Rock is right. P-Rock is right, too,
boom,
because he said the same thing that he...
Direct message. The fuck? You should take me on my word.
What he was talking about was that Pete Hines said the same thing when he was angry. He was upset about coaching Todd Howard for his interviews. So that is right. That was another email that he was kind of taken back when they were talking about Activision exclusivity. Not exclusive.
The fucking link in the chat.
That's another email. Oh, damn. You put the link in the chat. There it is.
The truth to ourselves. The fuck is this? Send me the link.
This one. Let's see. Here's the
What the fuck is this, Chad? He thinks he's talking to an Xbox. Like I'm gonna be like, oh, trust me.
No,
bro.
see, no, you
Wow.
just
Wow.
no.
Put the
No,
link,
no, no, no,
put
no,
the link in
no,
the public
no, no.
domain.
I'm putting it again. This is no. See, I'm glad. Once again, I'm gonna highlight it. However, Hines was also claimed that he was blindsided by Starfield's exclusivity when Activision titles like Call of Duty was still cross-platform. Yes. It was the opposite of what we were just told to do with other titles, Hines said. Again, this has to deal with, let me show you what I'm talking about. I want to show you the email. Right here. This was from the leak.
Why would he say he was
This
blindsided?
is about Call of Duty being multi-plat while his shit doesn't get to be multi-plat. That's why he's blindsided.
Yeah.
It wasn't.
No. Oh my God. What does the word
no,
buy
bro.
mean?
No.
Blindsided by
Activision.
Starfield's exclusivity. No, by Starfield's exclusivity.
When Activision titles like Call of Duty was still called. Why did you, bro? There's no period. Bro. Listen.
Pause there. Why would he be blindsided by Starfield's exclusivity in the first place if he knew it was going to be exclusive?
No, he is blindsided at the situation. Let me explain to you. Hey, Porter Rock, your game's exclusive. Okay, got it. And then I'm working. Then he acquires E4 Extreme Studios. All right, E4 Extreme, you can still be on PlayStation. This motherfucker can still make games on PlayStation? But my shit's exclusive? The fuck? Blindsided. That's blindsided.
You want to be blindsided by the double play.
That's why he was.
You were exclusive. You can't be blindsided by something you already knew.
No, he was blindsided. Oh my God, this guy's becoming an Xbox. He was blindsided that Activision was allowed to keep their games multi-plat.
Now we're redefining English. We are redefining English now.
Listen, this is his email. Right here, I'm showing on the screen. This is email. I'm gonna read it. Listen. I'm gonna read you his email. Now, if you want to argue what Peter Hines wrote, I don't know what to tell you. This is Peter Hines. I'm confused. Is the below not the opposite of what we were just told to do with our own titles? What's the difference? Emphasis in bold is mine. From this blog post yesterday. First, some commentators have asked whether we will continue to make popular content like Activision's Call of Duty available on competing platforms like Sony PlayStation. The obvious concern is that Microsoft could make this title available exclusively on Xbox console, undeeming opportunities for Sony PlayStation users. To be clear, Microsoft will continue to make Call of Duty and popular Activision Blizzard titles available on PlayStation through the term of any existing agreement with Activision. And we have committed to Sony that we will also make them available on PlayStation beyond existing agreements and into the future so that Sony fans can continue to enjoy games they love. We are also interested in taking similar steps to support Nintendo's successful platform. We believe this is the right thing for the industry, for gamers, and our business. Did anyone at Xbox think about giving us heads up on this? Yeah. Giving us help us on this, on that thing he posts. Tom's going to DICE in a couple of weeks. You don't think a journal might find and press him on why the below is okay for COD or any Activision Blizzard games, but not the Elder Scrolls 6 or Starfield? Or every future interview he does. He's talking about he was blindsided. Listen, he was blindsided on how they were handling Call of Duty in relation to how they handle Bethesda. That is why that's why in your little quote, notice where it says by Starfield exclusivity, you see this end right here after the Y? There's no period. So you can't cut it off. What you got to do is keep reading. That means after you see this, you're going to go over to the next line. When Activision titles like Call of Duty, I am patronizing because I am. Yes. I'm back to the email. Yes.
Yeah, okay, good. Now, I just need you to just realize that you could have stopped at the second sentence and proved my point, okay? Now, that second sentence is the below not the opposite of what we were just asked to do? Like, I don't know how you read something through and you didn't just read the words you just read.
What are you talking about?
Asked to do. What does that mean? Just means recently you came, and he even put in brackets, told to do. Do you think that is the speech of a person that knew what he was walking into? He literally said, "Hey, you just told me to do this. How come you're telling them something else?" Again, the just means it is recent, which means that they were blindsided, which is why if you go back to the previous tab, he just said blindsided by something. If you were to just follow the fact that he can't just be like, "Hey, why you treating us like we're your bitch and you're treating them like they're the queen," and you actually just read just the beginning.
Now you're blending. Now you're blending, because if it had nothing to Call of Duty, he would just say, "Hey, why are you blindsiding us? Now all of a sudden our game is is not going to be on PlayStation. I need somebody to explain this. Why is this being brought up now?" Okay, listen.
And why would you put told in brackets?
No.
You don't read the size in that.
Okay.
You don't read it.
No. Yes.
Okay. No. You know what? Cool. Since apparently the English language is beyond
you. No, it is not beyond me. Because his problem. His problem. No. You damn right I won. I know I won. I know. There was no match. The match is over. The referees left. Everybody's like, "Yeah, Extreme, you got knocked the fuck out on this one." You know what I'm saying? His issue. I can't believe the second sentence just. No. Once again. That's right. But no. That's what I do. No, that's how it works. That's how it works. You read the entire thing. That's how it works.
Just tell me why you said just.
Okay. All right. I'm telling you the just word, because he just found out what they're doing with Call of Duty. If Microsoft never bought Call of Duty, Activision, this wouldn't even be a thing. His issue again, and he's even giving you the purpose. He even listen. This last part of the email, right? He even gives the so what to his complaint. Did anyone at Xbox think about giving us a heads up on this? Today, Todd's going to DICE in a couple of weeks. He's even giving you the reason why he's pissed. The reason. It wasn't because of financial compensation or all this other shit. He's just concerned about my boy is about to go on stage and could potentially get bitch slapped. Because all y'all handled this shit different. Because you allow somebody else to do something, but you wouldn't give us the same stuff. That's literally the whole so what to his issue. His main concern was how are we gonna do this? Come on, bro. It's right there.
If that was his issue, the just wouldn't need to be there. He would literally just write, "Isn't the below not different from what we were asked to do?" Like literally, there wouldn't be a just. There wouldn't be any mention of recency. There wouldn't be any little shot at being told to do. Which clearly, again, is Phil Spencer walking in and putting rank and be like, "Hey, you were going to do this." If he knew this was going on, that just wouldn't need to be there, because they wouldn't need any recency to the decision. He was blindsided. You've heard blindsided. He didn't say he was blindsided by Activision's potential to publish on PlayStation. He said he was blindsided by our exclusivity when they get this. It is the buy that matters. It is the just that matters. If you you know what?
I'm gonna start this. If that was the case, then what the fuck does Activision have to do with the conversation? He could have just said, "Hey, I was just told that our game's not going on PlayStation. Can someone explain? I don't understand. Now we did the acquisition. You told us we had the freedom to do this, and now we can't do this. I need somebody to tell me."
You know what? That email probably does.
Am I right?
We just don't have it.
Oh, okay. So in other words, you gotta make up shit. I win.
Proves my point.
I win. No. This one talks about Call of Duty.
Can you? You can justify the fact that he clearly a recent decision to him.
He's just talking in context to Call of Duty, which we already established. If it was just a decision to go exclusive to Xbox, he would have not brought up Activision. What does Activision have to do with him being pissed that his game is now not going to be on PlayStation, which could potentially interfere with compensation? He doesn't just that. This whole story, and again, the crazy part is he actually gave the reason why he's pissed. He didn't say anything of this is going to cause less revenue. This is going to cause us to have less access to gamers. This is going to mess up our compensation. He said the problem is Todd is gonna go out, interviews, and this can blindside him. He's more concerned of that's literally that's
he didn't expect it.
no, because blindsided for blindsided on the decision they made with Call of Duty because he has nothing to do with that. He's not part of that acquisition they became. He doesn't like. Oh my God!
He would literally say,
"Bro,
hey, guess what? It's case by case basis, like Phil Spencer told you. We are doing it this way. Activision's doing it that way. Go talk to Phil."
Oh,
that
bro,
have been
you don't. Did anyone at Xbox think about giving us the heads up on this? Todd's going to DICE in a couple of weeks. You don't think a journal might find him and press him on why the below is okay for Call of Duty or any Activision Blizzard games? He's literally telling you why he's upset. That's his language. That's his language. I didn't make it up. I didn't write that email. It's literally right there, bro. Yeah, but you're definitely rewriting it. That's what you're doing right now. You're rewriting it.
Submit Exhibit A, B, and C
I
to
gotta know.
P-Rock.
What's up?
You know what?
What are we doing here?
Let's go.
You did right, win. My man trying to rewrite a whole anime.
Here we go. How do I send this thing? Jeez.
Just do it in DM. Just do it. Just put it in DM and Twitter.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? Like, he literally explains why he finds this upsetting. And he's not saying because of lack of access, less money, less population, less gamers, just less from the business side. He's just concerned about Todd Howard and how the journals are going to react and respond to be like, hey, you know Microsoft letting Call of Duty stay on PlayStation. Why can't Elder Scrolls 6 stay on PlayStation?
You know what? I'm sure he left because,
This tweet was sent out on June 16, 2021. Exhibit A.
What are you looking at? Where is that? You sent it to DM?
I just sent it to your DM.
All right, let's see what you got. It says right here, Peter Hines.
It's when you adjust the exclusivity.
It's okay to acknowledge and feel bad for people who are upset or angry, regardless of whether you did anything or not. It's simply expressing empathy. Oh, this is about for
Yeah, I'm getting his other tweet here where he says, I don't know how to allay the fears and concerns of PlayStation 5 fans other than to say, well, I'm a PS5 gamer player as well, and I played on that console, and there's games. I'm going to continue to play on it, but if you want to play Starfield PC and Xbox, sorry, all I can do is I say I apologize because I'm certain that's frustrating to folks, but there's not a lot I can do about that. And that was back in and that, I don't know, I have to get that tweet, but that's what he said in that email, which I think he might have deleted. I think that, I don't know, I can't say it, but that's what he said. So that was in 2021. So he knew about exclusivity. So why would he say in 2022 in that email that he's blindsided? He knew about the exclusivity back from when they purchased them. He was blindsided about the Call of Duty thing. About the Call of Duty not being exclusive. That's where, because Microsoft was talking about bringing it everywhere. So
okay, here. No, I got an article. Here you go.
Found it?
I'll
send you.
I got an article. No, I'll just put it up right now. This thing's killing me. It's killing me with this article is titled "Bethesda's P. Hines apologizes to PlayStation owners over Starfield's Microsoft exclusivity." This was posted June 17, 2021. Now let's look at the date of the email.
Exactly.
October 2nd.
Yeah.
2022.
You don't get blindsided a year later.
Any questions, Extreme? Or does the defense rest?
You win.
Yeah. Court adjourned. Get your ass to Sing Sing. Boy, don't play with me on this one. Told you. Listen, the problem with Extreme, he hates Starfield, and I said you can say the game is garbage. That is fine, but that is not the same as financial. You can have a game that is terrible and still be financially successful and be like, how the fuck did this game be financially successful? Anyway, gotta move on. What's the next topic, right? So, long story short, I think we all agree. Satya's done with Xbox. Oh yeah, and I didn't even get man, fuck! You didn't let me get my rocks off.
You spent half hour on this whole thing, man.
Yeah, my point. Now, let's reset the podcast. I know you guys enjoyed the heat and stuff like that. Let me hit the super chats. Mr. Q says, I don't think it's entirely about money, Porto. I don't know, bro. I think it's all about the money. But anyway, he says the big push for subscription services reminds me of the "you'll own nothing and be happy" narrative. I mean, yeah, that's true. So subscription services does take away ownership, but I think it's all about the money. It's not just about the money. It's all about the money. Dailies taint. Yo, what are we doing here? Whoa. You guys fear-mongering Xbox with fame. It's not fear-mongering. I think the whole conversation is a lot of people are taking Satya's business strategy personal. It's just business. It's just business, right? Wadawana. The email stated with, I'm confused, the man is mad. All right? So now, let me get my point. And each of you's hit something that leads to, in my opinion, the worst thing that happened to Xbox, or at least a portion of it. Now, you guys mentioned Halo. I think that's contributing. Extreme mentioned, Phil Spencer and some of the moves. I think he's definitely culpable in this, in causing this, right? And Craig mentioned, bad launch and all that. I think all that's culpable. To me, the worst thing that happened to Xbox is they found a way, and not in a good way, that Xbox consoles, people just don't care about it. And that's, to me, the worst thing that can happen to any product. It's better to have the whole community and casuals and everyone say this product sucks, aka PlayStation 3. When PlayStation 3 launched terribly, no one was saying, I don't care. Everyone was saying, man, this fuck, Sony's stupid. What the fuck happened? Oh, PlayStation 2 is great. This shit's expensive. Cell processor. Everybody was just pissed off at how the PlayStation 3 launched. Everybody was talking about it negatively. Everybody was saying they got no games. The multiplats run worse. They lost all the exclusives. But the main thing is, people were still talking about it. People still cared. They were just bashing it. Now, when you got a product that says, hey, look at Xbox Series, whatever, and people are like, who? Whatever, I don't care. To me, that's the worst thing that can happen to the product, because using the PS3, Sony found a way that people who talk negatively and end up talk positively. You can change people's mind. If people are paying attention to your product and it sucks, but you make the moves to fix it and make it worthwhile, you can change that person's mind because they're noticing this product sucks and be like, you know what? Okay, it's better now. That's literally what happened to the PS3. It was a product that a lot of people said it was garbage. Sony messed up. Sony took the moves. Hey, we're going to make the price cheaper. We're going to push out more games. We're going to get more exclusives. We're going to release more first party. Our own first party developers is going to show how to really take advantage of this. People took notice because they were paying attention, because they were talking shit, because they were saying the product sucks. But then after a little while, whoa, hold on. Ooh, Uncharted 2, that looks good. Oh, Sony's doing this. Oh, Sony dropped the price. Oh, they're adding, trophies. Oh, they're doing this. People paid attention. So opinions went, PlayStation 3 sucks. Hey, PlayStation 3 ended up good. But with Xbox Series consoles, most people just simply don't care, which to me is worse. If everybody said the console sucks, to include the casuals, even people not on the internet, that would be fine, because then Microsoft could find ways to change their minds. But when you got a person that don't care, they're not going to notice whatever move you do. You could do all the moves in the world. People are not paying attention to it. Hey, Xbox got these games, whatever. No one's having those conversations. Hey, Microsoft released in 2026. Hell, some people be like, didn't they come out like last year? I could have sworn I saw their new console being sold for $150. No, that's their old shit. That's the Series S. That shit came out in 2020. Oh shit, I didn't even know they were out that long. To me, that was the worst thing Microsoft did. They put their console in a position to where a lot of people just don't care. Like, sure, on the internet, on podcasts, on Twitter, it seems like we all care. But we're such a small, tiny community. We're not really relating to the heartbeat of what the general population is. The general population ain't messing with Xbox. It's not bad or good, it's just not there. And even the stores are reflective of that. In America, walk into a Best Buy, look at the Xbox aisle, look at the PlayStation, Nintendo aisle. It resonates. You walk in, there ain't shit in the Xbox side. And you know what? Most people don't even notice that the Xbox side is depleted. The people who do notice is the hardcore. I notice it. You guys notice it. Extreme, you probably have your own version of Best Buy. I mean, I'm not sure. Is Best Buy in Australia? Is it that brand or you have a different electronics? You have what's your big electronic market out there? Game?
It's nothing as big as Best Buy, but
I mean,
is pretty big.
Damn, no, I know JB Hi-Fi. Right? But you see what I'm saying? Yeah, I know JB Hi-Fi. Oh shit, that's crazy.
You have
But
JB Hi-Fi?
no, but you know what? To be fair, I did live in Europe. So I might be confusing JB Hi-Fi in Europe. Because that is in Europe, right?
Okay.
That's definitely, yeah. So that could be it.
Yeah,
But yeah.
I'm not sure if they're in Europe or not. But
Yeah,
no,
so
it's
that's
not
right.
Best Buy.
Yeah. So when you walk into these stores, the hardcore's gonna be like, yo, what's up with the Xbox aisle? Like, yo, this is crazy. But the casuals won't notice. They won't walk in and be like, damn, I remember a time Xbox had all these physical games here. What happened? They're not gonna notice that. Why? Because they don't care. They go straight to the PlayStation now. They go straight to Nintendo now. That's what they care for. And all the new people, they zone in. They probably didn't even notice that they walk right past the Xbox area of stuff. Probably didn't even notice. Just like literally blindfolders on. Tunnel vision. Go straight to the aisle that they actually want to go to. PlayStation, Nintendo. You see what I'm saying? And I think all the things you guys said is the contributing factor that led to that. You make a product that nobody cares about, like Extreme, you're more in tune to like cameras and all these technological. How does a company recover from making a product that people don't even care enough to bash? Like, what do you do? What do you mean by that? Like the game Halo, or like a Hail Mary type shit?
Yeah, exactly. You need a Halo
I
product.
thought you said you need a Halo product. I'm like, oh, they're in trouble because that sucks too. I'm like, oh man, Halo, like, oh shit.
Halo was the biggest drop, man. I'm telling you, that could have been a rallying call to give that attention out because Halo has that name. They had that horrible TV show, which that they couldn't even use that. But man, Halo was a real gut punch.
They're showing
Halo Infinite, not Halo Infinite.
Just because you're talking about cameras as an analogy, right? Sony bought Minolta in cameras, right? And Minolta was like a big brand, like back in the DSLR days, and they were competing against Nikon, Canon, and everybody. But they have fallen out of favor, but for the most part, you know, some people are nostalgic about it. It's a bit of Pentax now. Like if you ever heard of Pentax cameras. You know exactly
I know. Yeah,
if you haven't heard of Pentax, then you know exactly why.
I remember that.
But yeah, so Sony buys Minolta, and then they kind of carry their technology forward for a while, and then people kind of look at Sony cameras as just kind of whatever, and then they come up with mirrorless cameras, and the mirrorless cameras was their Halo product, where it was different. It was so different, so radically different from what a DSLR was, that people started paying attention to it just because the technology was newer. They were worse in every way when they first came out to their competitors. But then it's a newer technology, it had built-in advantages, and now Sony dominates the mirrorless camera world, and the technology that they have is clearly the direction that the industry will move into. So that's what I mean.
Yep, and it took a long time for Canon and Nikon to jump on board with the APS-Cs and all that stuff.
Exactly, because the thing is, when you are entrenched in one technology vector, especially with cameras, because the differences in technology were so vast that lenses needed to be redesigned to really work well with mirrorless. You could do adapters in order to make the flange distance work properly, but you were not getting any of the benefits of the new technology if you were doing it that way. So for Canon and Nikon to finally kind of switch gears and develop their own mirrorless solutions, that took a long time. And in that time, Sony became the market leader in that particular segment. Like if you look at cameras overall, Canon is still the leader, but they lost a lot of ground to Sony. Even though now they actually have really great,
especially with video recording too. The video recording,
exactly,
and autofocusing too. The Sony they did incredible with their autofocusing technology. Like still, Canon is trying to catch up with that.
There you go.
Okay, all right. So
thank you. Yep. Anyway.
Thank you for
that's
that.
the thing. But just like what you're saying, like they need something that has to be universally kind of like the spark that kind of gets people back. And I see people in the chat too. Like it's been so long. That's why even Phil said, like, if Starfield was 11 out of 10, it was so much that they've dropped because it's not been bad years, down years. It's been a while where they have not had a game that's just hits and everybody's a must play and all that other stuff. And not to say that the games were bad, they just came out, they weren't up to the expectations or hitting like it was, and they needed to they needed that real bad, and everybody's looking for that. You know, and they're hoping Halo was going to be it, Starfield going to be it, and not to say they're bad games, but just they weren't up to the expectations of what people wanted and needed at the time. And still, they're still trying to find it.
The problem in the console space for Xbox, when it comes to what we were just talking about, is that Sony keeps innovating. This is the thing with when you take a look at the camera world. Canon and Nikon, they were pretty set. They were, they were fat pigs in their respective domains. They were doing good work, but they had stopped innovating for a while. It's a bit like, what's the company that stopped innovating? Intel. If you take a look at Intel in the processor space, especially the consumer level, processors, the Intel iCore, i7 or the Core Ultimate, they were pretty much just sitting pretty and just giving you incremental updates for a long time. And then Apple came up with their own silicon, and now Intel is going to be like, oh, wait, we have to wake up and do that. And just before Apple, AMD did it, but AMD, people don't really give them as much of a cachet. So it was really when Apple Silicon came out that they were like, whoa, we have to pay attention again. So, but the problem is that Sony hasn't stayed dormant. Like, you take a look at the DualShock 4 to the DualSense, and forget about the consoles. The generational difference between the controllers is tremendous, Instead, Xbox is the one that is dormant in innovation in the hardware console space. And I really think that's where they need to be innovative. As much as people derided the Kinect, and I know that they had lots of, privacy concerns and everything like that, I truly thought that the Kinect was a great sign of what Microsoft could do because it was an innovation. And it was so far ahead of like the PlayStation Eye camera or whatever else they were packaging with their products that they could have pushed it forward. This whole thing where they talk about AI now, I'm like, well, if you had the Kinect around, AI would be a thing that would be so much more valuable now because now you actually have the machine learning tools to make it more than just a gimmick. Right?
They even tried Cortana.
Exactly,
that didn't even work.
Exactly. That's the problem with Microsoft. It's like they do not stand behind their own innovations.
No, they cancel Cortana.
Sony often stands behind their innovations to a fault. Like, did you know that for the longest time you could still get those SD cards, the special ones from the PlayStation Portable?
The thing that killed the PSP.
Get that in the cameras. Like, you could get that for your camera. Like your $2,000-$3,000 Sony camera, it will still accept that format. And nobody used that format. They just put it in there because they created it once. And they were like, yep, we're just going to put it in our product. It doesn't cost us much. So the thing is, even when their innovations are a failure, Sony kind of stands behind their innovations longer. Like, you take a look at the PlayStation Move, right? Complete failure. And then they used it again for PlayStation VR. And it was only after like a decade that they were like, okay, we'll finally break out of the shackles of this particular product. Sony kind of has that innovative spirit, and they kind of really want you to believe in their product. They still make Walkman. They still do. Like, you can still buy a brand new Walkman to this day. They're expensive as fuck. But the point is, they made a Walkman decades ago, and they still have one available for you now. So do you get what I mean by hardware innovation is kind of something that Sony stubbornly, for good or for ill, they kind of stand behind.
Well, I was going to say about the PS5, like, they could have easily just rode the wave of the PS4 and just iterated on it. And what you said with the DualSense, with the dashboard, with the features they put into the PS5, they innovated with the PS5. They made it a new generation where that's kind of what Microsoft was doing with the Xbox One. They took those risks, but they didn't pay off. So they played it safe for the next generation because their strategy changed.
That's the thing.
Yeah, they kept the console, they kept the control the same. They added a share button, which they dropped the sharing, aspect to it. Twitter did as well. But the dashboard took years for it to change. They really haven't really innovated that much in the console space.
I always thought that they should have gotten rid of the requirement to have the Kinect bundled in with the Xbox, but they should have just kept innovating on Kinect. Like, again, if they had Kinect,
I liked Kinect. I liked it. I beta tested the first one. I really liked. I bought the Xbox One at launch. I liked Kinect. I liked Snap. I liked watching TV on the side while I'm playing a game. I liked all that stuff. I liked what all they did. What happened to the channel? What happened to the video?
And that's precisely right. Yeah. Oh yeah. It says it's on
everything shut down.
Chat disconnected.
The video is violating YouTube community guidelines. What the hell?
What it says?
It said the video was
has been
violating community
removed.
guidelines. The
Listen.
hell is that?
Oh,
What'd
fuck.
you do?
Who did
No,
something?
no, because I'm about to. God damn it. No, man. God damn it.
You're telling me that our beautiful debate will no longer be recorded in the history of the world.
No, no. Is it off? Did the stream stop at all?
Yeah, and then it
Completely,
just
man,
said it
completely.
violated community content. Was somebody in the chat did something?
No, because we're about to talk the Suicide Squad game, but it has the word suicide.
Oh,
God damn, bro.
that was in the title.
No, that's what's showing on the screen. Like if you look at my stream and
Oh.
rewind it, I have a Twitter, I have a tweet, and they're talking about
damn.
Suicide Squad.
Oh yeah, you put it in the title. They got you there.
But that's the name of the game.
Shit, that game sucks. Now they're going anywhere now. If you can't even.
Hey, listen. Sorry, Jez. Don't put it in your title. Now
Oh
you know.
my god.
Dude, that's wild.
I put
Maybe
it.
you gotta put it as
I put
one
on,
word.
I put it on Twitter as just put SS. Just put SSKTJ.
Jesus.
Just